welcome to the show. This is Lee Michaels with Five Guys and You. Yes, I'm talking about you. You can be a part of this show. All you have to do is share, like, and subscribe first. You got to do that. That's a must, and it's free. Doesn't cost you a penny, not a red penny. Thank you. If you do that, that'll help us out and it'll help us grow the show. It'll introduce us to other people on YouTube, Facebook, and all the other places that we are connected to, okay? So thank you for that, straight off the top. And without further ado, let's get this thing rocking. Let's bring in our team of experts. And, well, some of them are experts, some are not so much, but we love them anyway. Speaking of which, let's bring in Mr. BoomShockalaka, Chris Bass, in the place with the face. You like that, Ryan?
You're going to keep on going and rapping and toe tapping and popping and finger popping. Go keep on doing that, or are you good?
No. It's rocking, jocking, and finger popping.
Well, there you go. That belongs to you. And I guess I'm one of the ones who are not qualified to do this program.
No, you're qualified. We'll give you a pass.
Okay, well, thank you. Right. Just give me a pass.
You got the biggest voice on the show, so you're in the house like a child on punishment.
Pretyou much. Yeah. you got
these
that
damn
right.
Dogs don't stop barking, I'm going to start shooting.
Don't shoot your dogs, man. Make them part of the show.
Okay, right.
You can swap me, take me out and put the dogs in.
Yeah, who let the dogs out, right?
There
Not
you
me.
go, right. That's right.
So what you talking about tonight?
Oh, man, hearty boom shakalaka to everybody out there. We lost a very great actor in Clarence Williams III, a man who done stage and done screen and beyond, and probably one of the most intense actors in Hollywood. I'll have more about him coming up next.
All right. Well, let's get ready for the doctor, the mad doctor in the house. Dr.Ron, what you got cooking tonight?
Man, it is always a party over here and a party over there. So, with that in mind, I'm going to be talking about the Southside of Chicago and how gone wild these young people are.
Yeah, it's been that way for a minute. Ain't nothing new about that.
For sure. Yes.
All right, well, we're looking forward to that. And let's go over to Mr. Chocolate, the Chocolate Buddha. What's up, Francisco? What you got going on tonight?
Another day in paradise, no complaints.
Right?
Yeah.
I know that feeling. What are you talking about tonight?
Yeah, I am outraged by the Republican Party yet again. It seems to be an inexhaustible resource these days. And I'm going to be talking about hearings and the lack thereof.
Hearings and the lack thereof. Let me think about that. Oh, okay. Yeah, I got it. That was a softball. Yeah, these Republicans have lost their damn minds, or at least they think we have.
Yeah.
And the Democrats, they're trying to show a little bit of muscle and backbone and standing up a little bit, threatening to go ahead and forget about being bipartisan and just make it do what it do, But the thing is, you got this one crackhead in West Virginia that's acting like a Republican, and he really is. You can't get elected in West Virginia and not be a Republican, because that is a red state.
Right. Or be married to your sister.
Well, yeah. Or at least your first cousin.
The rules are rules,
Isn't that a racial slur?
Which race? I mentioned no race, Ron. Your imagination is your own.
It only applies to hillbillies and goats.
Okay. Ooh,
So,
Jesus.
pick
Poor
which one you
goats.
want to deal with.
Poor goats.
I
Right.
feel you.
Somewhere there's a goat listening going, what the fuck, man? I got to be compared to a hillbilly?
Yeah, exactly.
Those are in mountain time, so they don't matter.
Yeah, there you go. They'll get the show in a couple of hours, so it's okay.
That's right. When they get on the right side of the mountain.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Yeah,
There you go.
it's crazy. All right, Chris, you want to go ahead and start your rap here?
Yeah, not a problem. Thank you, sir.
Mm-hmm.
As a mere youth, growing up, you watch television like most of us have done and did. And so you always try to sometimes find people who look like you, black, brown, whatever. And I remember coming across a show on ABC back in the 70s called The Mod Squad. And it had a guy on there with a very, very nice looking afro. And he was African American. His character was Linc, for Lincoln Hayes. And I used to watch it because, again, you find people that look like you during that time. And then along the way afterwards, you get older, I didn't know where he was. That person, of course, was Clarence Williams III. Until one day, I'm a teenager going out with my soon-to-be wife, Vicky. We're going to see Purple Rain, and we're watching the movie. Who pops up as Prince's father? Clarence Williams III. I was like, oh, shit, that's Linc. I haven't seen that dude for years. So I got excited because I remember him watching when I was younger, and to see him again on the screen, I'm prefer to see him on the screen, but to see him again just in person as a fan of his work, and I'm watching him do his thing, and damn Prince, we're here for Prince, but I'm checking out, Linc as Clarence Williams III playing Prince's father. And I was just so overjoyed. I was like, man, and I talked to some of my friends, man, that used to be the dude on the Mod Squad. And ever since then, I followed his work like most of us have. And he was just brilliant. Now, don't get me wrong. Purple Rain was not Academy Award material. Let's understand that. It was one big-ass video. We understood that too. But just the fact you see people you haven't seen before pop them on the screen was worth it. And from Purple Rain, I always followed his work. Very intense, stage trained. As a matter of fact, the footnote to the Mod Squad, he got that nod from Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby saw him on stage, went to Aaron Spelling, who was producing and casting for the Mod Squad, and that's how he got to start on television, through Bill Cosby. And I thought that was very huge in that time zone. And then because it would never happen, if that never, he never saw him on stage, the wheel not went in motion. You go to his movies, catalog is fantastic. Deep Cover, for example, Lawrence Fishburne came back out in back in the day in 1992, directed by the great Bill Duke. He's playing the cop, undercover cop, very religious and grounded, who's trying to help out the undercover cop played by Lawrence Fishburne. And they will be reunited back in 1997 with a movie called Hoodlum that was filmed here in Chicago, also directed by Bill Duke. Once again, Lawrence Fishburne reunited with Clarence Williams III. They always had this great chemistry. We go from that to American Gangster, to Sugar Hill, to Half Baked, and one of my personal favorites, playing the eerie film director, Mr. Sims, from Tales from the Hood, directed by Spike Lee. And he didn't have to have any makeup on. He was just frightening alone. As you know the story, the three gang members come to the funeral home to get what they think is the money, or as they refer to the movie as called the shit. So when they ask him about the question, hey man, you got the shit? Oh, don't worry, you'll get the shit. You'll be knee deep in the shit. And I'm already losing my mind. But he was not only intense with the loud booming voice, but he brought some gravitas to it. There was a reason why these characters, who or what they were. And when you look at his body of work, it's still good. And so when you're immortalized on screen, or for some of you out there who may have seen him on stage, it's one of those things where some persons or some people just transcend their art. And Clarence Williams III did that. As a matter of fact, he won an NAACP Image Award for Outstanding Supporting Actor in a Motion Picture for the role in Hoodlum. And if you have some time, if you really like his work, suggested, hey, check out some of his work, go DVR it, or you already have it on your personal supply, your personal list. Check it out, because the more you watch his work, the better it gets over and over again. He will be missed. Clarence Williams III passed away of colon cancer at the age of 81.
He will be missed. And you know what? I've forgotten most of those titles that you mentioned. Now I've got to go back and dig them up and check them out again because I didn't realize, after Purple Rain, I don't think I really focused in on him from that point. So yeah, I got to go back and check out some of those movies that I missed.
Well, and plus, he was raised by his grandparents. His grandfather was Clarence Williams, who frequently collaborated with Bessie Smith.
Another piece of history.
Absolutely.
He lived I guess, a relatively quiet life because you didn't ever hear any scuttlebutt or,
right.
At least I don't remember any.
Me neither.
Where did he live? You know?
He grew up in Harlem.
Harlem. Okay.
Yep. Grew up in Harlem, of course, went out to L.A. later on, but born and raised in Harlem.
Okay. Is that where he died, in Harlem?
He died in L.A.
L.A. Okay. All right. Wow.
Now, in his history, was he an activist of any kind that you know of?
In the articles I read, didn't say about any type of activism, but sometimes you can just be on screen to be an activist. Just go back to 1970s, and once again, 1968 to 1973, he was on the Mod Squad. That alone is activity. If you think about it from this perspective, because once again, here's a young guy, Afro, in the 70s on a TV but a TV show during that time. To me, that's the form of activism. And, when you read other people's articles who were inspired by seeing him, that starts his own movement. So I don't know if he's linked to any type of activism per se, but to me, that's a form of activism.
I got you.
Yep.
Yeah, I was 4 years old when the Mod Squad came out, and I actually remember watching it. Probably, I think starting around the second season when I was like 5. But I remember what I believe were his opening lines in the show, where the guy who played the handler asked him something like, "What's your name, boy?" And he said, "Hayes." And he said, "What's your first name?" And he went, "Lincoln."
Right.
And by the way, a little trivia, Peggy Lipton was his co-star, and she went on to marry Mr. Jones.
That's right.
Yeah,
they produced Rashida Jones, the caramel colored beauty, who I'm in love with, but that's a whole nother story.
Yeah. Yeah, different show.
Yeah.
all the girls that Chocolate Yoda is in love with.
No, we don't have time for that.
That's what I say, different show.
Time for that. No, every 15 minutes that'd be a new name.
There you go. So, like everyone else in the age group that we're in, I did, grow up watching the Mod Squad, and I do remember seeing a body of his works, through time. And I guess the reason why I asked the question, was he an activist of some kind? Because it seemed to me like he should have had more body of works. And I was just wondering who he might have offended, during his career, where they didn't cast him as much as he could have been cast. That's why I asked the question the way that I did, not knowing, what he could have been in, or what he could have been offered had he been, they got their A list and their B list, and then we don't call you, at all for anything list.
Yep. And they got a type list too.
Yeah.
The type of actor that they perceive you to be, or maybe your limitations might have a role in that as well, in terms of the range that you might have, So, I think there's a lot of potential variables in why we didn't see more of him. And maybe he was not interested in some of the other roles that might have been out there at that time. Who knows?
I'm playing the political game, and it's a valid question to ask, Dr. Ron. So, for example, I'm looking at some of the movies that he's done has connection to Black directors. Of course, let's talk about, once again, real quick, Deep Cover, Hoodlum, Bill Duke. You go back to Tales from the Hood, Spike Lee. I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker, Keenan Ivory Wayans. So you see this parallel of Black directors obviously were influenced or have seen his body of work going back to Clarence Williams III and brought him onto their projects.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He will be missed. He was a great actor and performer. Yeah.
Well, we're all typically judged after we're gone more than while we're, still kicking. So I'd be interested in.
My ex-wives would have something to say about that.
And how many X's do you have next to your name?
Well, there's 2 currently, but I am on the lookout for my 3rd ex-wife.
Hey,
I'm romantic. I can't help myself.
I understand, brother. Look,
I think
weekend,
you're fooling yourself.
Look, every weekend I'm out there hunting myself, brother. I understand,
Please don't compare me to you, Ron. There's no way.
No, this is all by myself. My hunt is personal. Okay, I just say I understand. I understand the hunt. Okay, because when you on a hunt, brother, hey, it's the weekend, baby.
Just so you know, if you are caught or captured, I will disavow any knowledge of your existence.
Hey, if I'm behind enemy lines, don't worry about it. They're not gonna bargain for me anyway. Okay.
Well, my question for you, Dr. Ron, is
yes, sir.
What type of hunter are you? Are you a diabolical hunter, or are you a beggar?
When I was growing up and I paid close attention to people that were successful, that were older than me.
You gotta have to light that cigar.
I heard a brother say one time that kind of stuck with me eternally, by any means necessary. Okay. So if it take a little
well, everyone,
begging,
I hope you've enjoyed Street News Now. This is our last broadcast.
So, if it take a little Lenny Williams.
Is that a knock on your door, Ron? That's probably the FBI or CSI or one of those.
If it takes a little Lenny Williams, to get it on, brother, I'm gonna play a little Lenny Williams.
Or some Luther Ingram or
I'm gonna
Billy
look.
Paul.
Whatever it takes, bro. By any means necessary. Okay.
Well, first of all, I want to thank everybody for being a part of the last Street News Now. Thank you all so much for your support over the past few months. And also the fact we were talking about, ABC shows in the 70s, because we were talking about the Mod Squad. There's another one that came out back in the day called Kolchak the Night Stalker. It was a newspaper guy that killed vampires and ghosts. But Dr. Ron, you should have your show called Dr. Ron, the Dry Beggar.
Hey. Hey, man, look, let me tell you something. Ain't nothing wrong with begging, okay? Look, how long have y'all been, it was a #1 song, Lenny Williams, wasn't he begging? Wasn't he begging?
Yeah, he was begging.
Come on now, get a brother his props, man.
He had his begging.
One of the most popular lines throughout music history is "Down on my knees, begging you, please."
Mm-hmm. There you go. Hey, that's man. Right. So look,
I mean, I'm on the opposite side of this coin. I refuse to be a beggar, but Ron, doesn't enjoy my good looks, so it's a different story.
I don't have no problem. Okay, ain't no shame in my game. Okay.
Yeah, there might not be any game in your game either, but
that's okay. That's okay.
I bet he has Tyrone Davis in his repertoire. Baby, can I change my mind?
Hey,
Tyrone Davis.
I bet there are leopard print Speedos in his closet somewhere too.
No. We ain't doing no Speedos. Okay, we got to draw a line. everywhere.
Yeah, I know.
You
You're right.
know,
There's enough violence in the world as it is.
there you go, bro. There you go. Look, plus I'm not gonna do my brothers any tightness at all. They got to breathe, okay? You know.
Oh Lord! Oh, you put that image in my head. Holy shit!
Yeah, you started it. You started talking about speedos, bro. I gotta let you know.
So,
Yes, sir. Now,
did we get to your report yet?
Which one? Who you asking for?
Dr. Ron.
Oh, now you want me to talk about news. So, okay.
This is a smooth segue. Let's do it.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Right.
sir.
Yeah.
So now, many people in the social network, all across Chicagoland had these videos playing. On the south side of Chicago, there was a very, very wild situation going on last weekend where some young ladies were on police cars twerking. Okay.
As you do.
And
Was a cop in the car?
yes, there were cops plural in the car. Okay. The cops got so scared of these young ladies because I was told, through the social media outlets that one of the girls didn't even have any underwear on. She was just twerking and twerking and twerking. And I wish we could play the video so y'all could see the example of what they were doing. The squad car started inching forward. Now the whole street corner was filled with young people on both sides of the street. The whole intersection was just filled. I'm trying to paint a picture for you of nothing but young people. And they were just dancing and acting a fool. They had one young lady that started dancing on the street pole, the pole that holds the street sign, that just, the name of the street on it,
She
was
pole
dancing. Yeah, she was pole dancing like she was in a club. Okay. And I'm telling you, man, it was no place for the police car to go. Okay. And these guys tried to inch their way through the crowd like it was a violent mob. Okay. So eventually some other police officers came up to assist them and they got the young ladies down off of the car. But, these young people have gone wild. They are totally insane.
What nerve to get up on a police car with the cops in the car?
Well, it sounds like we don't have all the information. I'd like to know what happened before they got up on the police car.
Yeah, why were all those people out there? I did see the video.
Yeah, you did see the video.
A lot of people in that intersection.
Now, some of the interviews, because the superintendent of the police in Chicago said that they were investigating this incident on why the officers attempted to try and drive through that intersection with all these young people, and including with the young ladies on the car twerking. And according to some of the officers that were reporting, is that in Chicago, what has been happening as of late, due to social media, they would broadcast that we're going to be on 75th at such and such a time, and the young people just show up. And they just hang out and they have like a block party or a street party just openly at that location. And that's why the police are not able to stay ahead of these crowds, and because they only had just regular patrol in that area. And, they didn't have as many police as they might have would have had in a riot situation. But from what you can see from the video, it was not a riot situation. There was no violence going on. It was just a very large crowd of people, maybe, 200-300 people in the area. And it was just congregating, music was being played. It was just like, okay, this is the corner where we're going to meet at. And this is where we're going to, gather and act a damn fool. And that's exactly what they did. So
you've used that phrase twice so far, act a damn fool. What does that mean?
Well, dancing on police cars, I would
Well,
consider
okay,
that to
but
be,
again,
yeah.
what happened before that? Because this story, as interesting as it sounds, is very incomplete. It's missing a lot of information. And I want to know why, if there was no riot, if there was no incident, what were the police afraid of? Why did the crowd? Because this is an unusual thing for people to do, right? I think we
Hmm.
can all agree on that, that the
Right.
idea of two people getting up on a police car is extremely unusual. So I'm curious to know what happened before that. You know, there's a lot of times in my life when people tell me a story, they leave out information, and I don't think you're doing it on purpose, but there's obviously information missing from this story. So for us to sit
It
back
may
and
not
go,
be
these
though.
young people were doing this. I mean, maybe
It,
there
it,
isn't, but what if there is? What if if something happened? If those police officers were maybe antagonizing the crowd, or because they just didn't like the fact that a bunch of black and brown people were gathered in the same place. You
mhm.
you never know.
That's true.
Hmm.
But now I'll go back a couple of summers ago in Los Angeles. The kids were doing the same thing on social media, and they would have big crowds at intersections. The difference, what they were doing in LA, and I think they're still doing it. In fact, I see some of the marks here in Vegas now. They would come out in their cars and get into a large intersection and just make donuts, just keep going round and round. And they would have a crowd of people who would block all four ways of trying to get into that intersection. And they would video these guys driving their cars going around in circles and what have you, and then take off
Hmm.
before the cops could get there. So it could be something similar. And I don't know, but it
Hmm.
sounds very similar to what they were doing in Los Angeles. And I see the circles here in intersections in Vegas. So I think that definitely has spread around the country.
Yeah, and the young people in Chicago, they are not exclusive to just this incident.
Hmm.
Last year and the year before, they used to do the same thing, like let's meet downtown, on the Magnificent Mile, 7 o'clock in the evening, and thousands of people would flood into the central, downtown area. And it made a lot of the business owners very nervous because there was so many people, not necessarily coming down there to smash and grab or rowdy or anything like that, but they were just so many people that it was a fear of crowd control. And
Yeah.
and they tried to impede those types of crowds coming together downtown, because that's like the major money making area of the downtown area,
Now,
you
just think
know.
about it. If they had 1,000 people come into Michigan Avenue
Hmm.
and they all went into the stores and bought goods and services, guess what? Nobody would be complaining, would they?
No, they're not at all.
So, if these young people want to show their real power, do that
Yeah.
and show your power through your wallet. And guess what? They'll start respecting you and looking at you a little bit differently.
And
That's
also, we
true.
know for a fact that people respond to white crowds different than they do to black and brown crowds. That's
Hmm.
just
No,
a fact.
that's not true. That's
It's just one of
absolute
those facts of life.
falsehood.
So that's why I'd like to know more about what
Yeah.
happened here, because it's not adding up in my mind that suddenly two young ladies decided to jump up on a car and dance. Like, again, I fully acknowledge that it's possible that it's exactly that, but it just doesn't sound like
What
that
what what
simple to me.
what do you think it could have been?
As I said earlier, I believe that it's possible that police officers didn't like the size and look of the crowd, and certainly the composition of the crowd, and decided to, flex their muscle, as police often do.
Right.
And
Now,
these
that's a realistic, prerequisite to what happened immediately after that, because the police car had its blue lights on at the time this video was being recorded, And some of the police interviews that were taking place, all week long was like, there's no way this cop should have been trying to drive through the crowd. Okay, no way.
So that already shows an error in judgment on their
right.
part.
Right.
So maybe there was another error in judgment to precipitate what these young people are doing. Listen, I think teenagers are mildly retarded just in general. So I get that they are liable to do just about anything, but something this serious, in major cities, people tend to have a real fear of police. So this is a big leap for someone to do this, and that's why I'm curious as to know the entire incident.
Well, we're gonna have to do a part 2.
Yeah, because as most teenagers, not all teenagers, most of them will get together because they want to congregate and party and ruckus. And like you said before, I mean, that's usually what the criteria is. But there's also some sort of motive behind it next to that as well. So again, when you see the image of the teenagers, the young ladies on the squad car and everything else, again, it's subject to belief of what happened or the timeline of what happened prior to or during. So when you're seeing an image, say that situation we saw that you sent Dr. Ron earlier in the week was 30 seconds. Once again, like 4 of us can watch it and walk away with 4 different opinions of what we saw in the 30-second video. So again, goes back to what Francisco said about the actual timeline itself, what happened prior to and everything else. The fact that we saw that video is disturbing by itself, because who in their right mind, even as a teenager, you knew not to mess with the police. You didn't go near them. You respect them. Yes, sir. No, sir. Everything else. From that perspective, to have the audacity to get on the car and to twerk and God knows what they did, where did that come from? So there's a lot of layers to this video that we saw. Yeah. And like you said about doing the part 2, that'd be fantastic to get some more insight of what had happened during that timeline.
I'm going to attempt to share the video. Let's see if this is going to work. Let me know, guys, if this is, if you guys, okay. No. It's, okay. Hang on here. I got to move some things around.
So did you get a chance to see the video, Francisco? It was in the email that went out today.
Yeah.
I mean, this week. Yeah. The link was on there.
I have a filter that blocks out all your emails.
Smart man. You're a smart man. Boy, I tell you, boy, I did not know this guy was as smart as he was, but now I know. Here's the video.
All right, let's see if we can get this to work here. I haven't done a share. Okay, here we go.
So there's a lot of people on this.
Right, there's a lot of people on the car, yeah. And see, at this point in time, there's only one squad car. Later, there's another squad car that came up.
So now look at the fact that behind him is clear. That means that police car drove up to that crowd, or pulled up, started talking smack, and the crowd went to him. There's so many possibilities of what could have happened.
Right. Yeah. See, now other police begin to walk up to that corner. Try to play the other one if you can, Lee.
Yeah.
There was 3 of them all together.
Right.
There were other police that came up to help get the people off the car. So the one that really got the most attention was the fact that the officer began to try to drive through the crowd. And they were like, if you're that afraid, being in the car, then, that makes no sense. That absolutely makes no sense whatsoever. Is that the same one?
No, it's the second one.
Okay.
I think it might be the same link. If I remember correctly, when I watched all 3, it seemed like you sent the same link 3 times.
Okay. Wasn't trying to do that. Well, this one was when they climbing up on the car, looks like. But these were people that were on the scene, and they were, you see everybody's got a video camera going at this particular time, with their cell phones. It was just
And
unbelievable.
cameras tend to come out after the action has started,
Right.
right? So that's why I want to know what was going on before the cameras started rolling.
I got you. That's a very good question. What was really going
Get
on
on it,
prior
Ron.
to
We're
it?
relying on you for hard-hitting investigative journalism.
Now, I can tell you without a doubt that this girl is dancing on a pole.
All right.
Without a doubt.
There's the pole dancer.
Look, there you go. And people are
And
throwing
by the
money
way,
on the
I say
sidewalk.
that I say this in all sincerity and without a hint of irony. I do believe, as much as this sounds like a joke, I honestly believe that pole dancing should be an Olympic sport.
Okay. We're gonna let you submit that to the committee. Okay.
It's actually already been submitted to the committee, smarty pants. And listen, if they can have synchronized swimming as a sport, then this is obviously way more difficult. It requires athleticism, it requires strength. And, just because certain people can do salacious things doesn't mean that in the competition those salacious things would be allowed. But just look at some of the gymnastics competitions where they're not just tumbling and stuff, they're dancing around. Like, why is that allowed?
Yeah, that's true. That is so true.
Pole dancing is amazing. It's an amazing skill. It's not easy to do. Some of these, there's world championships that happen in almost every country. And these women are incredibly athletic. And I honestly believe it should be an Olympic sport.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I am sure that it would be a lot of people that would agree with you on that, Yeah, without a doubt. Yep, without a doubt. Yeah, it's this is just a massive crowd that created a lot of fear.
It's not that massive. It's not that big a crowd.
Yeah, well,
it's a few dozen people. It's not that
more
big
than
a crowd. I'd love to know what happened. That's what happened before all of this. Something had to happen. Again, it could be just a bunch of dumb teenagers doing dumb teenager shit, but I don't want to just assume that.
Right, I got you. Well,
I think that's all it was. It's just, hey, let's go out and do this because we can.
Could be.
Yeah. With no intent of causing any harm or, breaking up anything or destroying anything. Yeah. Just, you got to remember, people have been locked down for a year and a half.
Exactly.
So it's creative time. Get out there in the streets and have some fun.
Yeah, and that's why a lot of people are, they send out a blast and they meet up, and that's it. They're there. It's not like you gotta twist anybody's arm to go show up to do something. They're there. Oh, this is where the party's at, and they show up there. That's
plain and simple.
Yeah. So, I'm going to do some digging around and see, can I find out some more information on what took place prior to the, the actual involvement with the police arriving on that corner. I'll see what I can come up with, and I'll follow up.
Read the tea leaves. Come on, man. You can do it, Ron.
I'm going to call a girl on the pole. That's what I'm going to do.
For more than one reason, of course.
And after she calls the police on you, then you can move on to your actual job.
Right. It'll be 4 guys instead of 5. Because they won't let you stream from the joint, okay?
No. Yeah, I'm just saying, man. And she was there. I know she know what happened, okay? That's all I'm saying.
Ron's defense will be, I just wanted to talk.
Right.
Hey, look, I got a press pass from Street News. Oh, no, you never sent that to me. I got a press pass from somebody.
Yeah, but
you'll
what's
find that box of Cracker Jacks eventually.
Oh
exactly?
man, which
Yeah, but I
allowed
want
me
to
to
know
be able to
how you
get.
justify the fact you got a pole in your house.
Oh, yeah, hey man, I'm just saying. I got a press pass and I can ask the hard hitting questions. What made the police come to y'all party on 75th Street and turn on the lights?
Because they heard it was going to be a party.
There
Plain
you
and
go.
simple.
Okay.
Plain and simple.
All right. And they bought the lights.
Yep. They want to know why everybody was out there, and public safety. They want to make sure y'all were partying safely.
Yeah.
But the question is, how did they go about that inquiry?
There you go.
Because again, there are police that are community based that understand what's going on.
You said where?
They know. Well, I mean, they know the neighborhood. Look, there's when you look at the number of police that there are in America and the number of police that are involved in terrible incidents, it's an incredibly tiny percentage.
Well,
now,
the good thing about this story is it seemed to have had a happy ending. There was no guns, being fired.
Right.
Nobody I've heard that was injured. Don't know if anybody was even arrested. So maybe we had the right cops in that car dealing with that particular situation.
Maybe. Because
or maybe they got instructions from the right police.
Yeah. That could be. Let's hope it was all of the above, because if nobody was shot, tased, or beat up or locked up, then it was a good night for everybody, including the cops.
Police obviously didn't escalate it past the point that it
That's the key.
So that's a good thing. That's an excellent thing.
It is.
So, and that's what I'm saying. Some police officers will arrive at a scene like that and have a certain reaction, which is, I got to go break this up. I got to go do something about it.
Mm-hmm.
And other police might look at it and go, hey, what's the big deal?
Right.
So it depends on who you have at any given moment as to what's going to happen next.
That's true.
So with all of the cell phones going, I know that there's going to be other social media footage that's going to surface. So, I'll keep my ear to the ground and see what else comes up, so we can see what else took place at that event, from people that were there, to be able to give us more information, to be able to give us, before and after what took place on that corner. So,
all right, as the editor-in-chief and assignment editor, I'm going to assign you the job of finding the pole dancer and getting her on the show next week.
I will do my very best.
So,
all right, editor, get that bail money ready.
Yeah, look, I'm going to be able to recognize her by the tattoos on her ankle.
Oh, okay. Good. I didn't see those, but okay.
Oh, yeah, that's going to work out perfectly.
Who was watching her ankles?
There's no way that could go wrong.
About 75 different times already. Ankle, birthmark. Dr. Ron, you're probably throwing dollar bills at the computer screen when you was looking at me.
Oh man, I'm all from a journalistic point of view.
Yep. Sure. He was using his Cash App.
Oh man, look. Oh man, I'm just trying to use a journalistic eyeball to make sure that I got the right person that I'm interviewing. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. All right, we'll cut him out right now.
There you go.
All right, Chocolate Yaddah.
All right. Well, so this is
Hard
what I'm
act
amazed. This is what I'm amazed about right now regarding the Republican Party. So, as we all know, January 6th, there was an attack aimed at the heart of democracy in America. And yes, some of these things are symbols. Some of these things maybe carry nostalgia with them. But the fact is that it is the Capitol building of America. And that was breached and stormed, and people died a police officer was murdered by this crowd. This was a really, really serious thing. And for the Republican Party to vote in lockstep against forming a committee to investigate it is just beyond astonishing. And the reason why I said the committees or the lack thereof is because think about what was investigated and what has been investigated over the years. Benghazi was investigated for 4 years. And by the way, we paid for these investigations, we the taxpayers. And no one was arrested. No one was charged with anything because that was just an incident where combatants got into it and things went wrong. And it was nobody's fault. Bottom line. And Hillary Clinton virtually had nothing to do with that, but she was on the stand constantly for this. When she used the wrong email server for government emails, this was investigated endlessly. One hearing was 11 hours. And again, nothing came of that either. So when you look historically, like steroids were investigated endlessly. And by the way, no one has ever died from steroids. Not one person. There is no medical evidence that steroids kill people. And yet when they found out that baseball players took steroids, there were Senate hearings and committees and all these other things. Again, wasting taxpayer money. So you're telling me that those things merited investigation. Those things merited committee. And an assault on the democratic process of voting and the actual capital of America, we don't want to investigate it? Could it be, and hear me out, that they don't want to investigate it because it will come out that many of them were involved in it? So you have a situation where guilty people are voting against investigating themselves. This is amazing. Yeah, it's the punchline to a terrible joke, but that's what we have going on, and that's what's got me up in arms today.
Very, very, very strong point. Your argument is sound, and I've been asking the same question. What's the big deal? What are you trying to cover up? What are you trying to hide? If you have nothing to hide, then let the investigation go forward. But you're right. There's a lot of people involved in this, House and Senate, and all the way up to the White House. And Rudy Giuliani and a bunch of others all are in the mix. It's going to come out. It has to. It may not be tomorrow, but sooner or later, the truth will be told.
That house of cards is crumbling. The FBI doesn't raid your home and office if they don't have evidence that you're guilty of something.
That's right.
The New York State in particular, and specifically New York City, learned some very hard lessons when they went after John Gotti twice and failed to prosecute him. That's why they brought in the ace in the hole, Robert Mueller. People forget that it was Mueller who convicted John Gotti, the Teflon Don, the one that everybody thought was not convictable. He got convicted. And so what did they learn? What they learned was what Mueller taught them, which is you don't take the first step toward convicting someone unless you know you can prove they're guilty. So in order for an FBI raid to occur at your home and your office, the FBI had to present evidence to a judge, and the judge had to say, yes, there's sufficient evidence to indicate that an investigation is warranted, and go ahead and seize more evidence. So Giuliani is just one brick in the wall. Think about all of the people that Donnie Dump has been associated with that have gone to jail for colluding with the Russians collusion isn't a crime, for trying to alter the election, for dealing in favors, for all these different things, for fraud. For payoffs. These people just keep going to jail that are associated with him. Do we believe that he had nothing to do with that? And that's another thing that Mueller taught New York City. That's why Sammy the Bull Gravano was on the stand testifying against his former boss, John Gotti.
Mm-hmm.
All right. That's why they're taking down the Michael Cohens, the Rudy Giulianis, all these people that they're taking down. They're taking down because all roads lead to Dump. And that dude, even though wealthy people generally don't go to jail, I think there's a good chance that guy's going to wind up in jail. And I can't wait to see him do the perp walk.
Mm-hmm.
The walk of shame. I hope that our justice system will do its job. No matter who you are, if a president, a senator, a member of the House, I don't care, a judge, I don't care who you are, if you break the damn law, you got to suffer the consequences.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody should be above the law.
Yeah.
Period.
Mm-hmm.
Because
and think about the situation with Nixon as a comparison.
Mm-hmm.
What Nixon did seems like a joke compared to what Dump has done.
Yeah.
Okay. Look, 100% wrong. All he did was say, hey, I want you guys to break into I think it was the DNC headquarters, and get me some dirt on the candidate. That's what Watergate was all about.
Yep.
It was a B&E for political purposes. That's it. Right? He didn't alter an election. He didn't let 500,000 people die.
Right.
He didn't steal from the treasury and give 83% of the money to his wealthy friends. 100% that he was wrong. But if you compare Nixon to Dump, it's a joke.
No comparison whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing about going back to 45, Francisco, we mentioned about Michael Cohen, for example. That's why I told people for years, when you always hear the adage, don't take it personal, it's just business. That's bullshit. It's always personal. No matter where you are, no matter what life you come from, it's always personal. Case in point, going back to Michael Cohen. So here you are, you're nicknamed the cleaner for 45 during this time. And you are screwed over. You get a cursive of reach around. You don't get the sweet pot. You don't get a part of the administration. You've just been used, blued, and tattooed. Hell hath no fury like a Cohen scorned. And that's why he tricked on him.
Mm-hmm.
And so it goes back to movie references of New Jack City. Nino Brown at the courtroom. Hey, this is Nino Brown. If I'm going down, everybody's going down. Going back to what you said, there's too many people involved. Everybody's in bed together. Too many strange bedfellows. Because if somebody gets outed, then we all got to get outed. So I got to protect you. You got to protect her. You got to protect him and everything else to keep this going. Because if not, we're all going to jail. Not just 45. We're all going to jail. That's why
these
so
people are
quiet
looking
now.
at federal time, man, and they ain't doing time for a guy that has proven that he is not loyal to anybody.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
None. Nobody whatsoever. So in a situation like that, I agree. When that perp day happens, man, I'm telling you, people are going to have, at least about going about out in public and having normalcy again, you'll probably have bars with their TV screens watching him do the perp walk and having free drinks.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, FBI were doing some type of Senate hearings or hearings on this week, and they asked the FBI director, was there a known investigation into 45's involvement about that day? And they said, well, none that I know of. That was his patented, I can't tell you what's going on right now. But he said there's a multitude of investigations going on about that day, and there are still many people being arrested in reference to that day. Mm-hmm. So
isn't there been like 400 arrests?
Yeah, so far.
20 or 60 or something like that.
And that's a small number compared to the amount of people that were there involved. But you look at the fact that there are many weapons available to the House, the Senate. You know, if they start doing ethics investigations into many of these people, they will start to connect the dot. You know, I mean, it is a lot easier to take down a sitting senator or congressman or House of Representatives. I mean, they do ethics committees and all of a sudden they find everything that you're involved in through those investigations. And like you were saying a little while ago, once one or two cracks, that's it. You take down Cruz and you start taking down some of these other guys that, you know, that think that they, you know, I'm going to say this shit don't stink. You know, once they start getting, you know, exposed, you know, man, please, they're going to start singing, well, so-and-so brought it to me and so-and-so said it was going to be all right. Because, you know, this BS about them not wanting to put a committee together to investigate it, that is total BS. You know, it's garbage. It's
a slap in the face of every American citizen.
Yeah, like you said, these people have investigated steroids. Man, they bought Pete Rose. Rose. They brought him in to talk about
here's the
steroids.
Investigation. They're all doing steroids. Who gives a fuck?
Yeah, I mean, by the
way, in all sports, if all athletes are doing steroids in professional sports, is the same as none of them doing steroids. Who cares? It means nothing.
Right. So, to your point, there's far more greater things that people are interested in than stupid investigations on that level.
Like the insurrection on the Capitol.
Exactly. That's to your point. I mean, these guys, man,
unbelievable.
Yeah, they keep what they doing, the Michael Jackson moonwalk. Yeah.
Here's the thing, guys. With all that's going on in this country and the world, we're still, you know, trying to come out of this COVID thing. And here in America, there's so many things that should be prioritized, like infrastructure. Bridges are falling apart. Down on Interstate 40, right outside of Memphis, there's a bridge that's been closed because it's not safe to cross over. And there's thousands, over 10,000 trucks a day that used to go across that bridge. Now they have to be rerouted all out of the way. It adds more time to delivery of the goods that we need. And that, to me, should be a priority. What political party would not want to see our bridges, our roads, our airports, the infrastructure of America that's deteriorating? They're in Chicago. Some of those underground places up right downtown have been there for what, 100 years? Those brick tubes that water run through, the sewage drains in Chicago need to be overhauled, renewed, repaired, replaced. And that was going on 30 years ago when I first came to Chicago. Well, they're still talking about that bullshit. And it just, I don't understand why any reasonable human being would stand in the way of making sure the funds are appropriated to fix the infrastructure in America.
Man, that makes too much sense.
Why?
You guys remember when San Francisco had a major collapse of the bridge, the highway, the over and under highway?
It was the Bay Bridge.
Yes, when it collapsed.
Yes.
You know, and that was what, 20, 30 years ago, something like that?
It was,
you know.
Yeah, I was living there then. And a friend of mine who was a radio guy, Keith Adams, was on that Bay Bridge.
Wow.
Less than 100 yards away from that section that caved in.
Right.
And over on the Oakland side, a number of the overpasses and bridges collapsed and sandwiched on top of each other. Right. It was a mess.
So that's an example of how poor our roads and highways still are. In
That's right.
Chicago, a couple of summers ago, Lakeshore Drive, the pillars had rusted away. And Department of Transportation went out there, jacked them up, put some braces up next to the rusted out, pillars that were there, and they've been patching and patching and patching, and I'm going to say the same people that predicted the disaster in New Orleans, the Army Corps of Engineers, have been predicting major disasters for the last 20 years on things that are going, that are structurally integrity is not there.
Right.
So the information has been out there. Even after they had the flooding in New Orleans, the reports were out there. And of course, they tried not to reference those reports like, oh, we don't want to talk about that right now. We just killed up a whole bunch of folks. And we knew that this, if a, category 4 or 5 hurricane blew in, we knew this was going to happen. So it's the same thing everywhere, up and down the East Coast. When they had those major 4 or 5 category 4 or 5 hurricanes that wiped out New Jersey, the boardwalk. I mean, they wiped out. I mean, these places are in danger constantly from Mother Nature and just everyday use. Everyday use.
It's true.
And meanwhile, the Colosseum in Rome has been up for like 2,500 years. and by the way, people think it's crumbling, but it never crumbled. Actually, bricks were removed during the Renaissance to build other things. So that structure, which has aqueducts, levers, sliding doors, all that stuff, that was built in the Dark Ages and is still sound. And meanwhile, the Tappan Zee Bridge in New York had to be replaced after 55 years.
Yeah, that's because aliens had did it. Yeah, that's why.
Oh God!
This was because people weren't bribing inspectors to look the other way.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And do you want to actually be proactive, or do you want to get paid? Is the question you have to ask yourself. So in any type of political situation, even damn politics, if you're going to have a committee, for example, for infrastructure, if you fix it, then what? If you fix it completely, not just band-aid it, completely put the money into it, completely get it fixed, then what? I may be out of a job. Or what's next on my
But you won't be, because it has to be maintained. Like if you look at the Brooklyn Bridge, the Verrazano Bridge, they paint that bridge every year. Right, because they have to. They have to. It's because of the rust, right? So they start on one end. By the time they get to the other end, they got to go back to the beginning and start again. But so it's maintenance. It's think about what happened after FDR started the public works programs, and ask yourself this. And for me, as a New Yorker, I wonder when the last time a new bridge or tunnel was created. It was so long ago. And yet every year, more people, more cars, and they're all trying to fit through the same pathways, and it's making traffic worse and worse and worse every year. And meanwhile, it would put so many people to work if they just started building new bridges and new tunnels. So there's always a massive upside to these things, and the only downside is the greed of the politicians that are being paid not to do these things.
I go along with you. My point I was getting ready to make was the fact that people are always trying to shortcut you. So materials and things of that nature, nothing wrong with upkeep, that's going to happen. But how much money is being invested, for example, in the upkeep? Do they try to shortcut you? Do they try to get the wrong materials, the materials that should be there on point? Well, tell you what, instead of paying this amount of money for the materials, we'll pay this amount of money and we'll pocket the rest. And that's my point. Because then, again, you can always say, well, look, we got continued maintenance. The union guys and gals are happy. It's an ongoing thing. It's always a way to shortcut. And the shortcut is not the way to do it, even though they're going to do it anyway. It's not fair to the taxpayer who pays money into it. It's just a damn shame that you see maintenance happening, but you would think that there would be some upkeep because certain cities, not only New York, certain cities and towns would just band-aid it and then wait until it collapses again and then come back. So it's a case-by-case basis. Yes, it's serious across the board when it comes to the standpoint of a standard A, B, and C, but there's always somebody somewhere saying, you know what, let's find a way to make money or find a way to take this money and pocket it for ourselves.
Yeah. Now the bridges that go in and out of New York are correct me. I'm not sure. Are they some of the oldest in the country? Are
I would
there
assume so,
bridges?
only because the East Coast is,
Yeah.
the entry point for most people in the country, and the country really grew out from the East Coast moving west.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Because some of those bridges, man, look. And then you think about the major industrial traffic that goes through there, all the time, so that's wear and tear on roads and highways that is second to none.
Yeah, and the tunnels that go from Jersey to New York. The George Washington Bridge, the Verrazano Bridge.
That
and
bridge.
Brooklyn Bridge.
From New York City to
to
Long Island.
Yeah. And you think about the Lincoln Tunnel, man, those bridges, oh my God, because most of the streets in New York are not transportation friendly for major commercial vehicles like big trucks and things of that nature. They're not friendly, for those types of equipment. So they have to stay on the major interstates and then, transfer stuff into the inner city. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, those things didn't exist when Governor DeWitt Clinton laid out New York, which is in the 1850s.
Okay.
He was governor for something like 49 years because everybody just loved this guy. He's actually the reason why New York is the financial capital of America and the trade capital of America, because he built, I think it was the Erie Canal, so that goods and services could connect with the Mississippi River. And if that had not happened, New Orleans would have been the hub. So he was a genius. He's the one that laid out the grid system.
Yep. It also connected.
It was all horse and buggy when he was alive, so that they didn't conceive of these trucks and things.
Yeah,
I mean, there's still cobblestone streets in New York City.
It's true. It was the Erie Canal was a gateway to the Midwest and the South because, in fact, I've gone up that route on my boat, and after you go through the Erie Canal, you're up in the Canadian waters. And then you go into Lake Erie and then up around Michigan, back down towards Chicago. So without the Erie Canal,
New York City would be nowhere.
Yeah, it would be a lot different than what it is today. No question about that.
Now it's the center of the known universe.
Yeah. Despite
how much you like Chicago, Ron.
Hey, man, I'm hanging out here right now, so I love everything that's going on, including the crazy little mayor tried to do a stepping in the park on this week. They were having stepping music, and I'm sure Reggie would love this. And she was doing her little two-step in the park, and they covered it on the local news, and she lasted all of like 5 minutes. She said, okay, that's enough. I'm out of here. She
had another party to go to.
Yeah, somewhere where music and dancing was not required. But see, she's not my mayor, so I ain't got no problem with her. See, I don't live in the city. So, she can clown all day. Well, they calling for that woman's resignation every day. You hear me? Every day. She is on everybody's bullseye list. Gotta get her.
So will she be reelected?
I have no idea. It's hard to say because I think to what she did this month probably boosted her percentage points quite a bit. And what she did this month, she gave the whole alphabet for the entire month. Like we got Black History Month in February, Women's Month in March. Well, we got the alphabet, LGBTQ, the entire month. She raised the alphabet flag at City Hall. So she has given them, they used to just have a week. Okay. Now they got the entire month. And part of that two-step dancing she was doing was a celebration that they were doing, somewhere in the city, because they've got festivals and street renamings, and
Is that a large voting block there?
That was my question.
Yeah, it is now. Yeah, because people are coming out of the closet.
What kind of percentage? I just wonder what percentage of the population they represent. In general, it's about 8 to 10%, which can be significant.
Yeah, I know that they had a large voter block to help get her in. So, and now that she is celebrating them on a major level, they loving her right now. So,
but the question I have, though, I mean, and that's good that the LBGQ, whatever, it's so many letters now I can't keep up with it, are embracing the mayor there in Chicago. But there could be a ripple effect from that as well. It could be a lot of people who are not in that community that will vote against her because of it. I mean, we're still living in that world.
Let those dinosaurs die off already.
Well,
yeah. Yeah. Well, they thought that was going to hurt her when she was running originally in the first place, but she pulled it off. She won the primary and she carried on, So, Chris may be able to speak to us since he lives in the city, and may have more information than I do about it, but I know she's been holding her base. I'll just say it like that. She's holding them.
I don't have too much to say about the foot at this time. No offense. This is nothing against her standpoint of her being a lesbian and being out. Nothing wrong with that. That inspires people. I'm looking at the body of work as I've seen to date, and it does look very good. And she could end up being a one and done mayor here in the city. Again, the full term has to be completed. I do believe that one of the bad black eyes she received was during the looting downtown here in the city, when she had the downtown area blocked off, which is, of course, the fluent area. Everybody know about downtown. You said before about the Magnificent Mile, Michigan, and everything being blocked off because of black people coming from the Southside of Chicago. And then to raise the bridges to make sure that nobody crossed over, that didn't go over well. But at the same time, you buy into the mentality when you have black people going into downtown looting. So it kind of, it makes it look good in certain people's eyes and not too favorable to others. So I think she's been on the fence for her legacy as mayor, but time will tell. My guess is I think she's a one and done.
Yeah, it's possible. Like I said, I know people are always, they fight against the mayor very hard. No matter who the mayor is, they're going to find fault. But hey, her base is her base.
Well, time will tell. We'll see.
Yeah. We'll see what she's able to pull off.
Has she done a good job overall so far? What's she been in there? A couple of years now?
Couple of years.
So in 2 years, what improvements or what has gotten better in Chicago?
It's about the same, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, keep in mind, that one of the years that she's been in office, we had the pandemic. Now, one thing I will say to her credit is that she stood up to 45. She stood up to her every chance she got. She stood up to him, because of course he was always using how bad things in Chicago are as a talking point every time he got a chance to crap on her, he did. So, and she stood up to him. She just didn't take that, everything that he said laying down. She did bite back and fight back. Now,
Do
the
you think
money,
he even knows who she is, or were
oh yeah,
those
he knew.
jabs directed at Obama?
No. He knew because he definitely targeted her on more than one occasion. But during her term as trying to manage as one of the major cities that were dealing with a pandemic, I have to say that she appeared, and you notice I chose my words very carefully. She appeared to do a decent job with trying to manage the pandemic for a city of her size.
Well, those things are measurable. So, what were the outcomes that she got in with regard to the pandemic?
Well, one of the things that she did wrong that I think, was that she took a lot of covert money and gave it to the police. Some of the things that I think she did right was trying to shut down businesses despite everybody's objection in order to keep this thing from spreading. So she kept the city closed down enough to try and control the spread of the virus by businesses, trying to continue to make money and allow people to come in, sit down, whatever. When the pandemic was at its peak, she was bringing in all of the resources that were at her availability to try and manage city services. She shut down things where it was, like there were no parking tickets, things that were under her control that she could try and like the schools. I mean, going into details, tit for tat. Can't remember everything that she did, but what I saw her doing was collaborating with the governor Pritzker, and they were monitoring the school situation. Like, should we, shouldn't we? If the governor said no, she didn't fight him on it. She went along with it, and 45, and the governor Pritzker, they went toe for toe quite a few times too. So it was quite a few things that went back and forth in the press. Like at one point in time, he was talking about sending in the National Guard into Chicago.
Well,
And
that can't be
yeah,
done unless it's requested by
right.
the
And she
governor
was like,
first.
well, and she was like, I'm not asking you for no help like that. Now, if you want to send in, government resources to help us deal with some of the situations we got, we'll accept your help on that level, but we're not letting you come in here and start martial law in Chicago.
Mhm.
So,
Well, a president can supersede that using the Insurrection Act, but it's so ancient, and it was really superseded by another amendment later on, and I'm forgetting the name of it right now. But a president can do that, but it would be really difficult to make a case for doing that just because you're a brat and you don't know how things are supposed to work.
yeah, he brags about the fact that he went into, what was it, Seattle. They requested
Whatever.
help, and we went into
Yeah,
Seattle.
a whole block of unrest, and he handled it.
Yeah,
Whatever.
right. We put it down in a couple of days. We'll get Chicago straight in a week. All she's got to do is
Yeah.
ask for my help.
He said
And
he said the virus was going to go away magically. He said he said
right.
he said rather cryptically that there
Uh,
were 15 deaths, but soon it will be none because he doesn't understand how life and death works.
yeah.
What do you mean 15? There's 15 deaths now and soon it will be none. Are you bringing back the 15 dead, you fucking moron?
Wait a minute. No, the killer to me was in a major press conference. He suggested that people shoot up and or drink bleach. Yeah.
He,
You know,
he should have been railed out of the office at that moment.
look,
Game over.
Clorox issued a warning. Do not drink bleach.
Ever.
Forget about Clorox's warning. The next day, the poison control hotlines all over the country were lighting up because people had done it.
Yes.
Yeah, they did. There was a couple
Damn
out of
sure.
Arizona. The husband did it and died, and the girlfriend.
Darwin is a man. Thank goodness he's gone. He was obviously a threat to the fucking species. Get rid of these weak link idiots.
Oh, look.
If America has one thing that you can point out as the worst problem is that it allows stupid people to breed.
You say breed,
Hey, now let's rewind. We're going to get out of here in a few minutes. But the big fat lie about the election, I mean, this guy is still pumping that up. And these people in Arizona are counting day and night, and they're saying they'll be done in, another week. But they haven't found any misdoings or any problems yet.
Yeah.
What a waste of time and money. And now some other dumbass states are now coming to Arizona to look at how they're handling that situation with the possibility of doing something in their states. I mean, what do you guys?
While they're at it, I hope that they corral the hordes of unicorns coming into this country, because that's a major problem also.
Yeah.
But here's when you know hell has frozen over. When Fox News commentator and star Sean Hannity, the 45 whisperer, says in an article about 45, you lost the election. Now, this is the man who's been next to the man all these years.
Yeah.
Whispering lies and having him on the network and things. And he even said, dude, you
lost.
This one.
You lost.
That's right.
By what? 15 million votes?
Yeah.
No, actually 7 million.
7 million. Okay.
He got
7
Biden got 15 million more votes than Clinton got.
That's what it was.
But,
yes.
Yeah, 7 million more.
So you
votes.
got a good ass whipping. Okay.
Right. And lost. By the way, he also beat him by the same margin in the electoral college that Dump described 4 years earlier as a landslide.
Right. Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah. Now you do know that all of the people that believe the great lie are saying now that in August, 45 is going to reclaim the White House.
Yeah. And the end is nigh.
Well, on that note, let's let the professor, welcome to the show.
What's up, Professor?
Blessings. What up, my brother?
Blessings to you guys. Let me pull it in so we can go in directly into Funk Intellici.
He wasted no time.
No time.
Zero.
Yes.
Yes.
So there's a former president, whatchamacall, has a flying freaking chance of taking the White House back either in August or in 24. What are your thoughts?
Listen, I'm not drinking that Kool-Aid at all. That's like a Jim Jones thing, man. I'm not touching that Kool-Aid. I'm going to leave that on the table. If, listen, I'm not going into the conspiracy theories and all this old kind of stuff, because I've been checking out Hannity, and he done had elders and what's the boy, Leo 2.0 on with the regular. Only thing I've been missing, I gotta check out what Juan says, what he says on the 5. I gotta check him out. But I'm not touching that Kool-Aid. I'm gonna leave it right there, cause it's like, man, this how crazy can you get? How crazy can you really, be just, even wanting to regurgitate, to even deal with, you got to be nuts. Listen. So that's a bad precedent that this dude is saying. So if you got money, or you think you have money, or you play with people's money to give the illusion that you have money, that means that you can do and say anything that you want anytime that you get ready. And so what do we have laws in this Constitution? What do we have all that for? And then the folk are so scared, right? That nobody wants to go against, nobody wants to tell this dude, sit down and be cool.
Yeah, not one person in the Republican Party has the balls, the gumption, the courage to stand up to this clown, this pimp. He's a media pimp.
But what if this dude is really nuts, though?
But he is. We just haven't had one doctor to come up and make that.
I mean, what happens when somebody says, that dude is nuts? And then all these people, right? All these 70, 80 million people, or whatever the number of them people, well, he can't be nuts, because they go, and it's not going to change. But I believe this dude, he was drinking that power Kool-Aid so much. It reminded me of like when I saw the movie Wonder Woman 1984, base. I mean, it's getting drunk on all this power and stuff. I believe this dude now, he might really be sick, and he's gonna be he's gonna take half of this country or half his believers with him. And so somebody got to say something. Somebody got to say something.
Dr. Ron.
Yes, sir.
Will you go on and make the diagnosis right now so we can get this bullshit out of the way?
I'm gonna look right into the camera. Number 45. You done lost your ever-loving mind. You need to go report to that padded room with your name on it. So number 45, report to that padded room with your name on it.
Do you think you get closer to the camera?
Yeah, number 45, report.
I can't see every dimple on your forehead.
Right now.
You get closer.
Right now, damn it.
Report to that padded room.
He's a mess. I mean, from a psychological point of view, even if you just have a cursory knowledge of Freudian psychology, he is a Greek tragedy. His psyche is so delicate and so wildly off the hinges for him to, and I mean, look, there's a couple of conspiracies that make sense in terms of he's just doing this so he can raise campaign money again.
That's all it is.
But I don't think that's what's at the heart of this. Because he was able to make money on his name for a long time. It's the only thing he ever made money on was his name.
But he can't get any loans now. He can't get financed. That's why he was
maybe so,
doing
but he
business
can still sell his name.
with Russia.
He can still sell his name. And
his name is worthless.
No, I disagree.
You would invest in him? If he built
what I would do has nothing to do with this conversation. It's the fact that there are so many people that will and do invest in him. His campaign contributors invested in him. Okay. So but he honestly believes that he is going to get reinstated in August. Okay. That's the trouble.
Okay.
And that's the professor's point. This guy is really nuts.
Yeah, well, wait, Francisco. Now we got to really get the right spelling of it. Is it N-U-T-Z or N-U-T-S?
Yeah.
Look.
If it's N-U-T-Z, it's preceded by D's.
Look.
D's nuts.
Look. I know we have a lot of learned people on the panel. So in Roman history, didn't they have a ruler called Caesar that went so power crazy that the Senate had to, all take turns stabbing him with a dagger to get rid of him?
That was Julius Caesar.
Yes. So, do you perceive this 45 as the same type of power thirsty, crazed individual as Julius Caesar was? So, is he going to take a bullet in the head to get rid of him?
Well,
Well-
I would never advocate for violence against
Yeah,
another human
I'm-
being, but I also wouldn't mind if I read that in the news tomorrow.
Here's the thing.
Uh-huh.
The Republican Party is responsible for his craziness because they
100%.
aligned themselves up behind him and they've supported him all the way. Even from time to time, even Mitch McConnell said, no, he's crazy. Basically, he lost the race and it's over. But then the next day, he acts like a damn fool and keeps aligning himself with the failure. The guy that lost. How do you keep going back to the guy that lost and embracing him? What the Republican Party needs to do is to kick his ass to the curb and find a new person to get behind because he is February.
Hey, hey, Chris, didn't you what did you call McConnell? What's his first name? What you call him?
Bitch.
Yeah, that's
Don't say it soft. Put some bass in your voice.
Okay, I will. All right, take two. Bitch.
That's much better.
Okay,
That's all he is.
Oh man, that's the reality of it.
But it has to be a clue. Going back to the whole Julius Caesar example we use, it has to come from within. First of all, the reason why they keep going back to him is because it's his party. They should stop using Republican Party. It's 45's party. You go back to that RNC that week when they submitted to him 100%, when they gave up their own firstborns to make sure that the party belonged to him. That's when it came back from another point of no return. So their allegiances is to him. That's why, even though he lost, that's their king, that's their ruler. They are the acolytes. So no matter what he says or does now, post the White House, they still have aligned themselves to his so-called way of thinking and his so-called movement.
Wow. I mean, it's a sad state of affairs for this country to even be entertaining some stuff like that. And then I'm trying to think, man, based on this kind of stuff, how come we couldn't get a play with nothing? I mean, if this dude can put that Kool-Aid out and have people drinking it, and he can actually send people to the White House, and then these people, after they done drank this Kool-Aid and had few cups of it, say, no, they didn't go down there to the White House. That was a tourist thing. And this stuff is coming out like that, man, we needed to get some of that Kool-Aid somehow and did some stuff, and we should have been beneficial with that kind of stuff, because it ain't nothing but lies.
Did y'all see the latest news report? They had a brother that was not allowed into the Republican Party. I mean, he's a Republican. He ran as a Republican, and they won't accept him into the party. He's like, no. He's a black guy. We're not accepting him here.
Where is this? I haven't heard this one.
Yeah.
Did they actually say that though?
This is what's killing me, right? On Murdoch's, one of Murdoch's stations, Rupert Murdoch's stations, right? So one of his big boys, the big boy that comes on prime time, 8 o'clock Central Standard Time. So he brings, and I'm gonna start calling these the clown brothers. You know, I got to call these. He pulls in the cart with the clowns on it, man, and they're actually saying that we're stupid for still supporting the Democratic Party. Bring in the clowns, man. These cats, they bring in Leo 2.1 and my boy Larry Elders. Oh, man, they're saying we stupid for dealing with anything Biden does, anything the Democrats do. You need to come to the Republican Party. Now, I'm sitting here, I'm watching this, and I'm watching a bunch of people believe in lies, and then you, my brother, or is it my brother? You know, I'm trying to figure this out. You gonna tell me I need to come and be in the RevCons? I mean, so
Give me one damn reason why
that's
me as a minority in this country would benefit in aligning myself and giving my vote to a Republican of any position.
So
you have to be self-hating to do it.
So right
Convince
now,
me.
But wait a minute now. I need to see Leo's check. Him and Larry Elder's check. Now, if I saw they check and they can send that to me, I'm like, hey, I'm gonna go crazy. Like what? I'm gonna do what they say, man, because they getting paid tall.
Ain't that much money in the damn world.
But they taking.
And I bet you that. What do you think they're getting paid?
I don't know, Lee. I don't know, but they getting paid because the way these cats suck up the Kool-Aid, they like drunk.
Yeah, well, you got you got people that go for they're bottom fishers. I bet you neither one of them are making $250,000 a year.
Yeah, and then that girl Candace.
That ain't enough money.
And have you heard the stuff that girl Candace Owens be saying? Oh man,
I don't listen to Oreos talk.
Yeah, they got that. I mean, but they got a cadre of them. But these folks still exist. Now, do they exist to make the white folks when they find, oh, he's a good one, he's like Larry?
Well, yeah, exactly. They're gonna pigeonhole you and then use fear tactics to scare the hell out of everybody.
Oh,
including some black people that are just stuck on stupid, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, but this is America. You have the right to do whatever you want to do politically or whatever, as long as you don't hurt nobody. But you got to understand, if you are a minority and you align yourself with the Republican Party,
especially right now,
you are hurting yourself because you've been hoodwinked, lied to, poisoned in the brain, brainwashed. You've drank the Kool-Aid. You're just still alive. And that's it. They don't give two flying shits about you personally or professionally. But they can use you to convince some other soft-minded people to go along with the program. Wake up, America. Wake up, my brothers and sisters. Wake up.
A few years ago, right, my boy Michael Steele, man, he was carrying it, Jack.
Yeah, well, he moonwalked away from that bullshit. He couldn't even go. He couldn't even go with it.
With the quick
Another Oreo.
And one on the 5. And so and I knew it was always that these cats are really paid. They're paid political actors. Okay, they're paid political actors. Because they, but they make it seem so believable that they all into this. And then, because if I saw him on the street, I said, oh, Leo, you ain't doing up a lie. I would get in his face and say that, man.
Well, he definitely switched up because if you remember during the OJ trial, Leo wasn't acting like no Republican.
Mm-hmm.
He was acting like a defense lawyer. And if I remember correctly, he was kind of pro, OJ. Am I wrong? Am I remembering that incorrectly?
Yeah,
he was just auditioning for future positions.
Yeah, but he got so wild. He actually got kicked off of. I think he was on CNN or MSNBC, and he disappeared for a while.
Yeah,
and then he came back with a whole different suit on.
Leo 2.0, the angry black man. I was digging that, but those paid political. So we got to guard ourselves. Mm-hmm. We got to educate ourselves on the paid political actors, so we can stay more in line in finding out what the truth of the matter is. So, what is really the truth of what this matter of what this man is trying to do right now? What is he doing? Who is he doing it for? Either he's got to be insane, poco loco, he got to be out of his mind, or I wonder what the real plot is. Because they cannot just be letting this stuff go on for it to go on. Because when they want to stop him, you understand, he can be stopped.
Yeah, but see, the problem is the Republican Party is so weak and they don't have a plan B.
Yeah.
So they got to stick with plan A. That's all they got. And he has instilled so much fear in all of them. Mitch, Lil Mario, Cruz, and all the rest of the so-called leaders in the Republican Party, they're pissing in their pants. He insulted all of them, criticized their wives, their families, and they still got behind this jackass.
No
Hey,
backbone
How
whatsoever.
stupid
But Lee,
can you be?
Lee, are they really that afraid of a FDR moment? Are the Republicans really that scared of an FDR moment? Are they really scared? You mean to tell me they would just rather to have the majority of us to continue to languish and suffer and not go through no FDR moment where, you know, the infrastructure where we can get some more money that they can
don't care.
end up taking?
They don't care. They
They're
don't
not
give
even a
a
political
damn.
party anymore. They are exhibiting all of the characteristics that are associated with cults. All cults are almost identical in their methodology. And one of the things they do, or a couple of the things that they do, is they tell you do not trust any information that comes from anyone but us. And that's where that fake news thing came from, right? You discredit all other information so that you control the flow of information between you and your followers.
And if you keep saying that over and over again, you will eventually brainwash the weak-minded people.
And they did. And the people that tend to be in the Republican Party, because there's psychological studies about these things, right? And the main characteristic of a follower of the Republican Party is someone with what's called an authoritarian mind. And the easiest way to understand that is that it's a child looking for a father figure. They have that kind of mind where they want to be led. They need to be led because they feel insecure. They don't know what to do. They don't know what to make of all the craziness in the world. And they want someone to tell them, follow me. I have the answers for you. That's why in the beginning, Dump was saying things like, I alone can fix these issues.
Yeah.
All right. So you've got demagogues and you've got authoritarian minds. It's a terrible mix. And we saw the results that ensued.
Yep, sad but true.
So, when is America going to wake up? Are you guys still embracing a bad idea? The fact that this man legitimately lost the presidential race in 2020. No matter what comes out of this guy's mouth, that, my friends, is a fact. It's been recounted. It's been investigated. It's been double checked, triple checked. How many more checks do we have to have before we can move on and put the past in the past and be done with it? Republican Party, I strongly suggest you let it go and find yourself another puppet to put out front and good freaking luck. But until you change, until you, the Republican Party, change, you will forever lose legitimately. The only way that you can win is you will have to steal votes. You will have to change laws to discourage people from coming out to vote, making it difficult, combing through the list of voters around the country and weeding out people who should be able to vote. But if there's one little discrepancy that you can point to, you will use that to your advantage. Guess what? You are failures. You are punks. You are chumps. You are thieves. You are criminals. And you are a disgrace to this country because you don't know how to play fair. You don't know what it is to win legitimately. And you don't know what it is to say, I lost. I'll try again and do a better job. You don't know how to do that. Until you get to that point and look in the damn mirror and face yourself and say, how can I go to sleep next to my significant other and wake up the next day and feel good about myself? How can I go out in public and keep spewing lies to deceive people that are hungry, out of work, and you don't give a damn, people that don't have health care and you don't give a damn, the criminals that are running around killing people, you don't give a damn. As long as you can keep your fucking gun and act like a moron. And yeah, I'm getting real brutal here because I'm sick and tired of the same crap coming out of the Republican Party. And you want me to embrace your ideology? Not going to happen. I've seen this bullshit for 71 years. And guess what? You've never been honest. You can try to throw the blame on the Democratic Party. Well, they used to be racist and we're not anymore. That has changed. The problem is you took up where the racist Democrats left off, because that's the only fight you know how to fight. Mitch McConnell, you should be ashamed of yourself. You need to go back to Kentucky, dig a hole, and stay in it. And for all the rest of you punk-ass Republicans, you need to do the same, because America is going to move on without you. We will succeed without your help. And let me say this to the Democratic Party right now. Mr. President, Joe Biden, man up. Stop waiting for these guys to be fair, reasonable, and meet you halfway. They don't want to do that. They haven't done it. They're not going to do it. The only thing that they believe in is obstruction, stopping you from being successful. I want to make sure that we make him a one-term president. You remember that? Well, guess what? President Biden, he's trying to do the same thing to you again. It's not going to change.
I got to say something. You know, cause you call this monkey wrenches. Cause them boys, them rep cons, right? Them rep cons, they like emboldened. They feel really, really powerful with their rhetoric and now, because they got a chump on the Dem side. What's that boy name? What's his name? McLaurin,
West Virginia.
Yeah. What's his name?
Isn't it Mnuchin or something like that?
Yeah, well, I know it started with an M. So I believe this chump is being paid.
First name M, last name F.
but this cat, they done convinced this cat, you know, for him, he's supposed to be them, but he holding out like he a rep con for them, and them gonna blame it on his little constituency, on his people. So this is why them doggone rep cons, they feel so strong in where they at and keeping this country at a standstill, because they know they got one boy on their side. In 2022, them shady chumps on the Demcom side, they're gonna have to be replaced with real Dems, not no Dem and they acting like no Republican.
Well, it's going to be hard to do in states like West Virginia, because it's too red for that to happen. The only reason Manchin is in that position is because he had to run as a Democrat, because I forget who he was running against, but that worked. But his campaign was not very democratic. He was speaking like a Republican. So he's a blue dog.
Yeah. So we need to get another seat, then another 2 seats to nullify this dude, because this dude
absolutely.
And then they knew that when they was going up into the thing that they still had this chance. This is why this boy that just left the office, who didn't acknowledge him leaving the office, he feel emboldened to make all these old crazy claims. I want to know what the big money elite, I'm trying to figure out what they smelling on this. How they gonna benefit by all of this? How's the money gonna help the big boys? How they gonna stay wherever they are? Because see, if they wanted this stuff to stop, they can end it. So
Yeah, but see, you know, the big guys like the Koch brothers and others, they have not really lost anything because Trump made sure they were cool in the
They
game.
gained. Look at how many billionaires increased their wealth.
Yeah. And
well,
because and listen,
Obama helped that out too now.
Well, yeah, but during this pandemic, for example, do you think the Koch brothers lost money? Now let's look at Koch brothers
They
industries.
gained money.
Absolutely. They make most of the toilet paper and the paper towels and other products that you buy every damn day. Okay? So how many of us were going to Walmart and Kmart and Target and the local grocery stores trying to find toilet paper, hand sanitizers and wipes and all that kind of shit?
They set that up, made people frantic to get it, man. They made a killing.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Made a ton of money.
They didn't lose anything.
Killing, man.
Look, I got to make a correction. I made a statement a little while ago, so I went and found the article so I can correct it. It's in the New York Post. GOP Representative Byron Donalds says Congressional Black Caucus is keeping him out. So he's not allowed to be a member of the Congressional Black Caucus as being a Republican from Florida, newly freshman elected Republican from Florida. So when I first heard the report, I gave it wrong. So I wanted to correct that because
now, wait a minute. Is he a U.S. House representative?
He
never heard of
a
him.
House of Representatives. A black GOP lawmaker in the House of Representatives says Congressional Black Caucus has declined his efforts to become a member.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, what are your political, beliefs? Are you going to come in as a Republican and go back to the Republican Party and try to convince them that they need to do the right thing? If not, then hell no.
He's 42 years old, who represents the Naples area of Florida. So he got elected, and he was trying to get into the Congressional Black Caucus, and they have not welcomed him with open arms. That's the report. Okay, so I just wanted to clarify that.
Have they ever allowed a black Republican into the Congressional Black Caucus?
Good question. Good question.
So if not, then
counterproductive.
Yeah, it's a waste of time. Can a black congressional member go and be on the committee with Republicans that are not trying to do the right thing? I don't think so.
Well, it's a private organization, I think, and to be in it, you have to be, first black, and then you have to be, probably like-minded with the rest of the, representatives or elected officials, so that, you don't want to allow anybody into that organization that's going to take your information and disperse it in the wrong ways or the wrong places. So I don't have a problem with them not letting him in, with his viewpoints and opinions. He's a freshman, establish yourself, where they can have trust for you. And then, then you go see what happens from there.
All right. We should do a little research on him and invite him to the show.
Okay.
Let's ask the questions.
Yeah. Now, look, before we get out of here, because I know you're going to get us out of here in a few minutes.
Yes, sir.
I just want to make this statement. Chris Bass, the BoomShockalaka, has been sitting there this entire show with that cigar in his hand, celebrating the birth of his new grandbaby. So I just want to be the first one publicly to say congratulations, my brother.
Thank you.
Grandson, right?
Your grandson, yes.
Is
Emery.
this your
Yes.
first grandson?
This is my first grandson, yes.
All right, that's special.
Grandpa Shakalaka.
I know, right? I mean,
Grandpa Boom.
you were like the 18th person with another variation of this grandpa shit. I'm telling you.
Welcome to the club. You know,
Thank
I'm
you.
already
Yeah.
laying down. You know, I'm
Yeah. It don't hurt, Chris. I tell you.
Yes, I heard that before. Yes, I
Yeah.
never told my daughter that. Thank God.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Now,
Well,
what is? Have they given him a name yet?
His name is Emery, spelled Emery.
Okay.
Emery.
Emery.
Yeah.
All right.
Emery, yes.
Yeah.
Emery.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, congratulations, my brother.
Wait a minute.
Grandson.
Where did this name come from? Because that's very different.
It's very different. They were going over names and they looked at all these variations of others, but Emery stuck out and he just removed the Y, put the I in there. So his name is Emery Dwayne Moorhead. And Dwayne came from Dwayne Wade because my son-in-law, Edward, actually knows Dwayne Wade personally. He was a mentor in his life, went to all his basketball camps. And in fact, his mother is a minister. She knows Dwayne Wade's mother, who is also a minister. And that's how he's decided to put the middle name in honor of Dwayne Wade. So hopefully we get a lot of basketball tickets.
All right now.
All right, good deal.
Yeah,
Good deal.
yeah.
Well, congratulations. That's
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah,
I
he
have nothing but
he been flashing that
granddaughters.
cigar all evening long. You know, like all evening. He been flashing it over here, flashing it over there.
About.
Yeah.
Now, are you gonna smoke it, or are you just gonna?
I'm gonna smoke it. Yeah, I didn't want to do it now because inside the house. So I'll go outside and have me a smoke. And then a good friend of mine that reached out to me before all this said, you know what, we gotta get some old granddad so you can drink old granddad.
All right.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
He must not have nothing to do tomorrow.
Well, make sure you start drinking that old granddad tonight, so you'll be sober by next Thursday.
I
know. Yeah. He ain't got nothing to do tomorrow. Drinking that stuff, boy. Woo, Lord. Yeah, they don't call it old for nothing. Remember that.
I know, right? I got the text last night. So he was born 8:51 p.m. West Coast time because my family stays out in Phoenix, Arizona. So we got the text. Okay. And then we got the picture of him. 6 pounds, 7 ounces.
All right.
Okay.
Congratulations
to the family.
Yeah. Spoke to Mattia today. She's doing great. She's resting. I got a chance to speak to my son-in-law. He's doing great. I just got some pics of them going to the nursery to check him out. So, yeah, a very handsome young man there. He's going to break hearts already. So, yeah, he's going to be. I got to put him in the game later on. Not only was his father put in the game, then the grandfather had to say, "Look, man, let me pull your coattails down the road." So he's off to a very good start.
Very good. Now is his father a ball player?
No, he used to play ball in high school at one point. He played football and basketball. My son-in-law, he's 6'3". I'm 6 feet, so he's 6'3".
Big boy.
Yeah.
All right. Well, good. I'm glad everybody's healthy, and
yes,
and it's got to be a proud moment for you. I've been waiting for a grandson, and so far I got 4 granddaughters.
Oh, okay.
So I keep telling my oldest boy hasn't had any kids yet. He's still being a player.
Watch out.
At 50 years old, he's still being stupid. I keep telling him he's had some really nice girlfriends. But I don't know, he's just, I don't know. I'm going to have to have that talk with him one more again.
Oh, man.
You got to introduce him to a nice young lady. That's what you got to do, Lee.
He's had all of that.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. I'm gonna be cool. I'm gonna just be
I'm gonna be cool.
Yeah, but once you introduce him to Sunshine, then he gonna make plenty of babies after that.
So Sunshine, she's still swinging on the pole, so I don't know about.
Listen.
Francisco's a little slow on that one, so I had to jump in there.
Listen.
She hasn't retired as a pole dancer yet.
Listen, where things seem to change, they still remain the same. You got to be careful with. You got to be careful. The test you got to send. Guys, we need to let the young men know better these tests before they make these choices on these sisters, because a lot of these sisters is ruined. And it's
on that note.
Coming from the man who's been happily married for the last 50 years. Okay.
No, man, no. Look, no. I had my time. I made some bad choices too. All that glitters ain't gold.
All right now, unless they work in a strip club, right?
I'm gonna leave that.
That's the persistent rumor.
And thank you very much for watching Street Pole Now.
And send all your comments to Lee Michaels at Street News Now.
Don't send me Jack, okay? Leave me out of it. Hey, you guys be safe till next week. Thank you for watching and being a part of the show.
Yes.
And tell a friend. Like, subscribe, and share. Congratulations again, Chris.
Thank you so
Be
much.
proud.
Morgan graduates tomorrow.
All right. Congratulations, Professor.
Good night. You guys are a mess.
2 hours and 2 minutes, we're still